know about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. I was actually intending to do this show last night, but the fact of the matter is the whole family's come down with COVID. So my oldest tested positive a few days ago. And the pediatrician told us just basically assume that my youngest my 16-month-old that she has it, and my wife is feeling the effects. I just have body aches and stuff. My wife and I are double vaccinated, so that is why I actually did not go live yesterday. And then the big board show that we were going to drop tomorrow for the tackles, I'm actually going to drop that on Monday instead. So we just it's just pushed everything back. So yeah, that's why I wasn't live yesterday, because I know I told y'all that I was going to be live. So just an update on everything, so y'all know where it all stands. So this show that you're seeing right now, I was intending to do yesterday, but it's just basically pushed everything back a day. We'll look at it that way. So we'll see how it rolls. Hopefully everything stays kosher. You know what I mean? So it looks like my oldest daughter is through, like, she's through the hardest part of it. So um my wife, it's starting to hit my wife pretty hard though right now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll play it by ear. But just an update. Hoping y'all feel better, and happy Saturday to everyone. Says the Watch Mister. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, dude. So today we're gonna go over. I wanted to go over the history of the 102nd and the 125th pick. Like, let's go over the draft picks of the last 10 years. How many of those guys have been hits? How many of them have been misses? So we can get a decent sample size of, what are the odds of us hitting? Is it going to be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 3 out of 10? We'll look at both draft spots over the last 10 years. I see people have been mentioning in the comments Deion Jordan is the worst draft pick. If you actually read the title, I asked, is Austin Jackson the worst draft pick in the last 5 years? So I know someone said Charles Harris. The person who said Charles Harris, that's like the cutoff, because that was a 2017 draft. And I'll address all that. It's actually from an article. Bleacher Report put out an article talking about every franchise's worst draft pick in the last 5 years. And there's 2 players on there that I think will interest all of us. But obviously, Austin Jackson is the one that they had mentioned. So we'll talk about that. I personally think there's someone else other than Austin Jackson, and I don't think it's Charles Harris. So we'll talk about all that. If you guys didn't see the videos yesterday from Perform of Tua's footwork, I do want to show y'all that. Beautiful stuff. Article from Barry Jackson that I do want to go over all of y'all. And then just a little minute clip from Mike McDaniel that the Quarterback Collective put out today. And it's Mike McDaniel talking about players, but then it goes to one of his former receiver coaches. It's just really interesting. I want to show you guys the clip, so I think y'all like it. But other than that, man, what is everyone up to? I hope everyone had a fantastic week. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. It's just it's just tough out here right now, man. It's just tough out here right now. When the whole family is sick, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, and I think me and my wife are double vaccinated. Obviously, the children aren't. So that's why they got hit pretty hard. Well, my actual oldest daughter got hit the hardest. Yeah. Mario says, I'm not ready to say Jackson's a terrible draft pick. Yeah, he played terrible, but he also had no coaching. He regressed insanely in his second year, and most of his issues were coaching. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say most of his issues were coaching, but I think a lot of his issues are fixable through coaching. Let's say I will say that. Mhm. It's tragic. Was at the Hard Rock Casino last night. He says it's packed. Hope you didn't lose your shirt, bro. Ian says he's very interested to see what this coaching staff gets out of Jackson, man. I told y'all it's going down. I think, you know, if you the latest episode of Fin Too Deep with me and Neil, it went live today. You can check in the description below and you'll see the link there. And Neil, he went out and he said that he feels the three most improved players on this roster next year are going to be Tua. I think he said Jalen Phillips and then Austin Jackson. So he thinks Jackson's going to be a top 3 improved player on this team next year. So, we'll talk about him, Juice. Don't worry. We'll save him for later. And the reason why I think Austin Jackson can turn it around is because, again, a lot of his stuff is coachable, hand placement, footwork. You look at his anchor, he hasn't grown into his grown man strength. He hasn't grown into, the kid's like 23. He hasn't even grown into his grown man strength. But once he gets his anchor, which is coaching, and also he's got to hit the gym and work on it. A lot of the stuff that Jackson has, he's got all the traits. His whole issue is, the fundamentals and the technique stuff needs to be cleaned up. But then you look at our coaching staff, Frank Smith, Matt Applebaum, Mike McDaniel, and I believe it's either John Embry or Darrell Bevell. And one of those two guys, they have a ton of experience working with offensive linemen and getting results out of offensive linemen. It's going to be the same way with Austin Jackson. Literally. So, what are my thoughts on Hunter Long? I think I don't think Mike Gesicki is going to be on the team next year. Even if he becomes a competent blocker, I think he's going to price himself out. And you look at what the staff was able to do with Smythe last year, and then you look at the new staff coming in. There's going to be a ton of stuff they're going to be able to do with him. So I think Hunter Long, if he stays healthy, man, he's got a chance to not only take a step forward, but be one of the reasons why they move off of Mike Gesicki. So I don't know, man. Florida born, man. I'm tired of these clowns on Twitter going after my boy Bowden. Bro, I love how Bowden bodied yesterday, bro. I actually didn't see that till this morning because I crashed hard last night. And so I didn't see the whole Bowden stuff. And then I saw it this morning and I was laughing my face off when I saw that. And that dude that he clowned is a clown. He's a writer for Fin Fanatic, and first of all, his articles are brutal. Second of all, the guy's it clearly just a click. He tries to be clickbaity and stuff like that. And another one of these jabronis out there trying to make themselves something in this community that aren't worth anyone's time. But Bowden, yeah. See, Foxen knows what's good. Certified, bro. Certified, bro. Yo, Foxen, yo, Austin, you already know what the deal is too. All he is all he is was brought on help by a certain even more worthless writer who was trying to basically be the Brian Flores of the community and surround himself with a bunch of betas so he can have a click because no one likes him. That's all that guy is. That's all he is. Jason, that's exactly. I just explained the whole situation. That's exactly what it is, man. I'm telling you right now. You know what? That's Steve. You brought something up actually really interesting. So Big O, shout out to the homie Big O. I just saw that whole clip from the Big O show where Omar Kelly said he did some digging, and the guy we were going to draft if we weren't drafting Tua was Jordan Love. Jordan Love was who Flores wanted. And what's crazy is if you go back to 2019, again, all y'all who've been following me forever, what did I say? I said they're either going to draft Tua and take a tackle after, or they're going to draft a tackle early and take Love later. And lo and behold, and the funny thing is, they didn't draft Jordan Love, but one of their picks was still used on Jordan Love. Right? So, yeah, Rome, I saw Tyreek go and say, he said, speak on your ship, boy. I was like, yes, sir. Caddyshack, ouch. You let him know. You let him know. See, and Caddyshack, the guy who was plagiarizing tweets, that's the guy who I'm saying brought him on to try and surround himself with betas because no one likes him. Bro, if you saw the people in my DMs that dude thinks are his friends that are talking smack on him, dog, you guys would laugh your face off. Thank you, MG Taxman. Appreciate it. But yeah, pivoting back for a sec here. You know, sorry, I'm just reading these comments here. Some of y'all are wilding. Killing me here. Oh my god, look at this guy. Yeah. So with Omar and what he was saying, Jordan Love. I mean, let's put it this perspective. Everyone knows I really like Jordan Love. Jordan Love was very toolsy. Jordan Love was arguably the toolsiest guy in that draft. Okay. And you remember my point when people are like, oh, his interception to touchdown ratio. I'm like, bro, if y'all are going to hold him to that standard, that means y'all are the same fans that wouldn't have taken Marino in the draft because go look at his numbers in his final year. That's the problem with stat line watchers. You need context to those interceptions and those touchdowns and his play. Anyways, Jordan Love is just full of tools. Anyways, the thing is, you look at it, it's like if we would have drafted Jordan Love, do you really think Brian Flores and this staff would have properly developed Jordan Love? Bro, listen, these guys have dropped the ball with one of the most, here's what you guys don't realize. You know how many evaluators and people in the scouting community tell me that like one of the highest grades they've had in the position, in the last 10 years was Tua? Like, you know what I mean? Like people don't realize like a lot of people who are very reputable who hit on a ton of players, a ton of players. So my whole point is you had a guy who, whether there's a pro scouting community, whether it's a Twitter scouting community, whatever scouting community you want to go to, a guy who was pretty much revered, Tua Tagovailoa, at being pro ready and having day one pro translatable traits. They dropped the ball with that kind of guy. What do you think they would have done with Jordan Love, who's being properly groomed behind Aaron Rodgers, might I add, and still isn't ready to go because I said he needed to sit on the bench for 2 years. That's what I said. And you know where we'd be at with the quarterback position right now? We would be drafting a quarterback this draft. There probably wouldn't even be a question. You know how bad Jordan Love would have looked behind? Okay, because here's the thing. Let me explain to you. Jordan Love's last year, the reason why he struggled statistically, everyone left. It's what happened to Sam Howell this year. Running backs left, his receivers left, his O-line, I think, what was it? I think it was 9. He had 9 new starters on that offense. And like young, we're talking like freshmen and junior who have never started before. So we saw what he did with that. What do you think he would have done behind a historically bad offensive line and a lack of weapons and no one to rely on? A kid who legitimately needed development. Everyone knows how raw he was coming out, but the traits were just crazy. Y'all think people would be pitchfork and torches and impatient with Tua? The hate for Jordan Love would be unbearable right now. That's the crazy thing, man. Listen, because it goes back to what I said when I was on TD Finstock and I hadn't even started this channel yet when we did the Tuesday night panel with me, him, EM, ball game, etc. All right? What would I say? Before we even got to the draft, I said, I don't care who you draft, whether it's Burrow, Tua, Love, Herbert, I don't care. The fact of the matter is, I wanted an offensive line built like what was in Indianapolis and what was in Oakland, now Vegas. I said, go build me one of those lines. And then if one of these guys doesn't work out, whoever we draft, the next guy can come in and the O-line is set. And it's like I've been saying, I'll say it again. Herbert would not have won Rookie of the Year with the Miami Dolphins. See, that's that Madden mentality of, oh, it's a 97 overall player. Let me just put him on my team and I'm going to get the same 97 overall results. Life don't work that way. So either does football. That's why, what do they say with prospects and draft picks? And I've been preaching. Environment matters. Situation matters. There's no way. Sure, would we have seen tons of flashes of Herbert and what he could potentially be and the greatness shining? Sure. Same thing with Burrow. Sure. But we wouldn't have seen it at a consistent level and a consistent rate and on a consistent basis. And anyone telling you difference lying to themselves just because they have an agenda at play. So, again, go back. Omar's dug up that it was Jordan Love was the guy that Flores really wanted. Sure. Love it. Love it. Love it. Fact of the matter is, I would be scared stupid right now if we would have actually drafted Jordan Love with our quarterback situation. Because I can only imagine the confidence level and the playing level that kid would be at right now. He'd probably be out of the league. And I'm not even like trying to be funny. Like let's be honest, at times Tua made chicken salad out of chicken shit. Period. Jordan Love wasn't ready to do that. Now, Burrow and Herbert could do that, but because of how deficient we were coaching wise on the offensive side and personnel wise on the offensive side, there's only so much even they would have been able to do. That's just a reality. Why do you think I was so leery of giving up all these picks for Watson? Because I know they would have given up all this stuff for Watson. They wouldn't have surrounded him at all. They would have said, oh, hey, well, we saw, you don't have a good goal line. You didn't have much to work with in Houston. We saw what you did, kid. Like, go out there and do it. Tua gave us a winning record without anything. Go out there and do it. You got this. You've thrown 33 touchdowns in the NFL before. You got this, Deshaun. And then he would have got killed. And he would have only been able to make us at best a first round exit, maybe a second round appearance every couple of years, because he would have been, there's only so much even he can do. Because, like I said before, my biggest worry about acquiring Deshaun Watson beyond the allegations, they wouldn't have put him in a fair position to succeed long term. Now, if you would have traded for him and got Mike McDaniel, different freaking story I think we're discussing right now. But I digress. Mike McDaniel is the one who's putting Tua in a position to be successful. Darrell Bevell is the one putting him in a position to be successful. Clearly, Matt Applebaum and John Embry are putting him in a position to be successful. And Frank Smith, because they all, especially Frank Smith, wanted Teron Armstead, Connor Williams. So It's just the reality of things right now. I can only imagine where Jordan Love would be at if he was a Miami Dolphin. I literally quiver at the thought. Like, it makes me cringe. We would have wasted a guy with a big potential skill set because we wouldn't have had anything in place to properly develop him. Again, Tua was far more pro ready than Jordan Love. Think about it for a sec. All you that want to hate on Tua, it's different. There's a difference between haters and the non-believers. The people who don't believe in Tua don't believe he's going to reach his ceiling, but they still cheer him on because if he does reach his ceiling, they benefit because they win. The haters, they're the ones who spin anything he does into bad news and hate. So I know the non-believers will sit back and hear that and they'll be like, oh, thank God we don't have Jordan Love. Because I know I can at least, funny enough, reason with them. Let's get into the history of the 102nd and the 125th picks. I think it's really, really interesting when you actually look at the hit rates. It's a spicy meatball. So let's start off with might as well start off at 102, I guess, right? Guy that buys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. You know, I'm doing a matinee on a Saturday, which I never do, so I'm not expecting a crap ton about you, but draft content, baby. All right. So when we actually sit there and we look at the 102nd pick over the last 10 years, this is what slaps you in the face over the last 10 drafts. Okay. That's a lot of misses when you when you sit back and you look at this. Okay, so let's I guess should we start from the bottom up? Let's start from the bottom up. Let's start all the way from always probably the biggest hit at 102 in the last 10 drafts. Obviously, Kirk Cousins. I mean, this guy is a former Pro Bowler. It's just one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the last 10 years as well. Just keeps getting money. He's thrown for over 32,000 yards in his 10 since he's been drafted. 66.9 completion percentage, 223 touchdowns to 91 interceptions and a career passer rating of 98.6. You know, when at a time when they also drafted RG3, you know, a lot of people looked at this like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Now we start getting into the real gray area, let's call it here, okay? In 2013, you know, Josh Boyce. Now this pick was traded a few times. It went from the Lions to the Vikings, then to the Patriots. You know, he had 3 starts in his rookie year. Then he was on the IR and, you know, in 2015 after basically being on the practice squad all of 2014. 9 receptions, 121 yards in 10 games, like bust. Nothing. Here's the next one who's actually I thought decent. I would consider this a decent hit. Bashad Breeland. I would consider this a hit. You know, I know he's had enough ups and downs, but you know, in 8 seasons, we're talking 439 tackles, 86 passes defended, 16 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 10 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries with a touchdown, and 1 sack. For the 102nd pick, when you look at the rest of the list, Bashad Breeland, it's a good pick. You know, it's obviously not a Kirk Cousins pick, but it's a respectable pick. Okay. Next one, I get a guy we're all familiar with. Right tackle, played with the Buffalo Bills. Daryl Williams, again, another respectable pick. He's been a respectable right tackle, you know, 41 starts when he was with the Panthers between 2015 and 2019. You know, decent player, man. So at 102, again, when you look at the rest of the list, I'll consider that a hit. So we're at a pretty decent rate right now. Then we get to 2016. And we start doing a little bit of a nosedive and a little streak of a nosedive. The San Diego Chargers. Joshua Perry, he retired in 2018. He jumped around. He as a rookie, he only had 22 tackles and a forced fumble in 15 games. He placed on IR. Then he was released by the Chargers at the start of the 2017 season. Went to the Colts practice squad. Didn't really do anything in 2 games. Got waived, re-signed with the Colts, then was released again, signed with the Seahawks, and then he was retired. So, yeah, let's chalk that one up as a bust. In 2017, speaking of Seattle, Nazir Jones, take out the A and turn that Z into an S, and we got Nas out here. And, again, another guy only appeared in 20 games during his career with only 2 starts, 26 tackles, and an interception, a fumble recovery, and only 2 sacks. Retired in last year, I believe, if I remember correctly. So he's, let's chalk that one up too as that's not that great of a pick. And then in 2018, as part of the Bucks Giants trade for Jason Pierre-Paul, the Bucks got a hold of the pick. Then they traded up in the draft and sent the pick to the Vikings. The Vikings drafted defensive end Jalen Holmes. And this guy is, he's turned into a practice squad player. He made I think he was one of the final round of cuts last year. And then he went to the Saints practice squad. Now he had played 6 games in 2019 and 9 starts in 2020. But again, another guy where he's just a jag, just another guy. In 2019, I would consider this a hit. Alexander Madison, he's been pretty good. You're talking about a guy who's had 330 carries over his career for 1,387 career rushing yards with 6 touchdowns. Also has caught 55 passes for 435 yards and 2 touchdowns. Considered a hit. He's been great when he's had to step in for Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? So I would consider Madison a 102. That's a good hit. In 2020, Alexander Highsmith. I know a lot of people were like in the Twitter community were high on him. And as a rookie, played all 16 games. And then he started 60 games last year, 122 career tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, 8 sacks. I mean, that's a hit. I don't know what to say. And then Ambry Thomas, he's a little in 2021 by the 49ers out of Michigan. He appeared in 12 games, started 5 of them, 1 interception, 2 pass. That's basically, let's check on it in 2 years. So when you look at the hit rate at 102, it's actually decent, right? If we look at the last 10 drafts, you got 5 guys I would consider a hit in Cousins, Breeland, Darrell Williams, Madison, and Highsmith. And then, it's supposed to be, I got spell corrected. Instead of Amber Thomas, it's supposed to Ambry Thomas. It's supposed to be RY, not ER. I apologize. I didn't even notice that. I'm all out there right now. Basically, I only look at 4 misses and 1 guy and Ambry Thomas pending, right? Jalen Holmes, Nazir Jones, Joshua Perry. There's like a 3-year streak, and then Josh Boyce. Overall, there's a decent rate where we could get a good contributor here at a 102. So, I mean, that's It's interesting, man. You know, you look at it. Let's say Ambry Thomas right now. Let's just say he's a hit because he had actually a pretty good rookie season. He had a pretty decent. He had 23 tackles, 5 passes defended, and 1 interception in 5 games. So let's say as of today he's a hit. Let's say as of today he's a contributing player. That's a 50% chance. That's like really good when you look at draft terms. That's really good, and you're gonna really appreciate it when we get to 125. But that's like really good. That's like decent. So we're gonna see. The good thing about 102 and 125 is we're gonna see how good our scouting department is. We are gonna get a good grasp on if they got their P's and Q's in line. So um that's the history of the 102nd pick. And I'm doing this to show you guys what the chances are, what the hit rates are, give you guys either hope or like, like you see this and a 50% chance basically is how it's laid out over the last 10 years. You say to yourself, okay, there's, if we have a good department, we're going to get this right. Well, when you're going to see 125, you're going to say, man, if we get this right, we got a really good department. So that's 102. There's a lot of decent options. So guys are going to fall, guys are going to drop, guys because of guys who are unexpected rise. It's all about having the right department in place so they can identify those guys and bring them in. And I will say this, when you have such a limited amount of picks and you know where you're picking, it's really easy to say to yourself, okay, in talking with other people around this league, this guy is going to be gone. There's a good chance this guy's going to be gone. This guy may be lurking around. So you can get an idea of a nice group of players who should be there or could be there just from talking with people around the league. So if they do their homework and they do their stuff right, we could have a decent contributing player on 102. It's not, it's not, you know, it's it, it's not beyond reasonable to expect a contributor at 102. That's what this is showing you. All right, and then when we take a look at the history of the 125th pick, it's a little more shoddy. And by a little, I mean a lot. I mean a lot. So again, let's start from the bottom. So Ronald Lewis out of Oklahoma. Um, he appeared in 8 games. He went to the CFL. He went to the Indoor Football League. He went to the Arena Football League. Uh, Bust. Well, what else can you say? In 2013, the Packers, they got UCLA running back Jonathan Franklin. He appeared in 11 games as a rookie. Neck injury in week 12 landed him on injured reserve, and he ended his career when doctors told him that another hit could lead to paralysis. And in the games he did play, he had 107 yards on 19 carries and a touchdown, and 4 receptions for 30 yards. So look at us. We're sitting there at 2014. Walt Aikens. He's actually probably one of the better names on this list. As you remember, we made the trade with San Diego Chargers early in the draft. And we took Walt Aikens out of Liberty. Spent 6 years in Miami. Played 93 out of 96 games for us. Obviously made his, he cut his teeth as a special teams player for the Miami Dolphins. And I mean, he was a hit. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's a special teams captain. On defense, he had 93 tackles, 3 passes defensed, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. He was a contributor. I can't believe Walt Aikens was a hit when you look at 125. Then when you look at 2015, Javarius Allen out of USC to Baltimore, he played 54 games at Baltimore. Then he went to the Saints. And he got released during camp, went to the Giants. Um, a guy who, I mean, he produced before the injury and such. I'm not going to call him a hit, though. I'm not going to call him a hit. We'd have to be reaching if we called him a hit. 2016, uh, Colts, they drafted Antonio Morrison out of Florida. Um, he hasn't played since 2019. And I think he was waived and he hasn't played since then, and he's played 47 games and 27 starts. Bust. We're just gonna call it what it is. And then you look at Eastern Washington linebacker Samson Ebichem, with the Rams. You know, again, a guy who they got production. He's been You got to consider him a hit. He appeared in 64 games with the Rams. He started 35 of those, 150 tackles, 6 passes defense, 1 interception, a touchdown, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries. He had 14 sacks. Then he signed a contract with the 49ers ahead of the 2021 season. So again, that's a hit. So now we're at 2 hits. Um Now, and I remember the hype on this kid too. When the Philadelphia Eagles took Avonte Maddox at 125 in 2018, and they got production out of him. And they're still getting production on him. He just signed an extension. He's been a good player. Avonte Maddox, he's been a really good player for them. He's been a contributor. So again, another hit, back-to-back years of hits. Then we get to 2019 and Renell Wren out of Arizona State to Cincinnati. He was on the injured reserve in 2020, ended the injured reserve, entered his rookie season on the injured reserve. And then he was on the practice squad last year, and I think he signed with the Eagles. So just a practice squad, just a camp body right now. So miss. 2020, James Morgan at FIU. I actually liked him coming out. Now, I didn't think he'd be a starter. I liked him as a backup. You got to consider it a miss, though. He hasn't, he's just on a practice squad right now. He's just a practice squad player. He ended 2021 with the Colts on the practice squad. I think he signed for them for 2022, but, he couldn't beat out Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold got sent packing. So that tells you where he's at. And then right now, Cameron Bynum, he got drafted last year out of Cal. He got moved to safety from after he played cornerback at Cal. He got moved to safety. Started 3 games, 28 tackles, a sack. He had a pick, again in progress, right? So if you look at this right now, it's not very good. We got 3 hits. We got Avonte Adams, Samson, Abukim, and Walt Aikens. So right now we're at about a 30% rate. So really interesting when you sit there and you look at it, and dude, not very good. So it's if we can hit at 125, to me, it's really going to say a lot about our scouting department and where it's at and how good it is. These 2 picks at 102 and 125, they're really going to tell us the kind of department we have. And I mean, you heard Greer stress it, right? When he said, just because you have less picks, that means there's a higher emphasis to hit. So, going to be interesting to see how much they do hit. But there's the history of the 102nd and 125th pick. I just thought it was something interesting. I just thought it was something interesting that was worth looking into for all of y'all. So, what's our hit? What's the hit rate? What are we dealing with? Now I know I asked the question earlier: is Austin Jackson the worst pick in the last 5 years by the Miami Dolphins? Well, Bleacher Report, they put out an article and it said every team's worst NFL pick of the past 5 years. And I wanted to show you guys because at Arizona, they have Josh Rosen. And I mean, I remember the beef and the divide over Rosen. And oh man, I remember all of that. And they have Josh Rosen as the worst pick over the last 5 years for the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, are they lying? Ask yourself that question because I don't think they are. Now, for the Miami Dolphins, let's get to us. They selected Austin Jackson as the worst pick in the last 5 years, and this is what they said. The Miami Dolphins may have prematurely thrust Austin Jackson into a starting position. As a rookie, Jackson struggled at left tackle and battled the foot injury that sidelined him for 3 weeks early in 2020 season. During the following offseason, the Dolphins tried to quickly correct a mistake they made at a premium position. They selected Liam Eichenberg in the second round of the 2021 draft, inserted him in the left tackle spot for most of the season, and moved Jackson to left guard. Jackson played every game through the 2021 term, but he didn't show much improvement, committing 12 penalties through 1,096 offensive snaps per PFF. Under new head coach Mike McDaniel, whom the club hired to replace Brian Flores, the Dolphins added 2 offensive linemen in tackle Taron Armstead and guard Connor Williams. Both have lined up on the left side for most of their pro careers, which means Jackson will have to change positions again or settle for a backup role for the foreseeable future. Even if Jackson earns a first-string job for the upcoming season, he could continue to struggle outside of his natural position at left tackle. Okay, well, first of all, that his position coming out of high school and into college was right tackle. So I wouldn't call left as natural. Second, I'm gonna say it's no Igbenogany. I mean, is this even a discussion? I mean, the guy can't even get special team snaps. And I know people are trying to say Charles Harris, but you can't even say Charles Harris. Because Charles Harris is actually like producing. So to me, it's definitely no Igbenogany. The guy can't even get special team reps, can't even get on the field. Like, let's call a spade right now. Austin Jackson, as bad as he's been, at least he's given you some starting snaps. Right? So I can't really agree with this overall assessment. To me, it's no Igbenogany right now in the last 5 years. When you look at investment and who was like Antoine Winfield was on the board, Jonathan Taylor was on the board. Like, let's be honest here, it's not even close. Right? So it's no Igbenogany. 110%. It is. I will not agree that it's Austin Jackson. And everyone knows how I feel about Austin Jackson. So, continuing on. If you guys didn't see it, I'm gonna show it. Shout out to the homie Nick Hicks and everyone over at Perform. Basically, they shared a video yesterday, and it was highlighting to his movement ability and is improving, footwork drills. So, man, let's just sit back and watch in awe. Beautiful thing. Look, he keeps his head up, eyes downfield.
Good work.
Love
Work.
it.
Work.
Look at this. Yep. So fluid. Quicker than a hiccup, those feet are, man. Look at that. Look at that. You know, that guy can move around any mess in the pocket with those kind of feet. Just next level. Boom, make the throw right on the money. Whew. That cutback was disgusting. Look at that. Clean, man. Ball. Clean. Woo.
Yeah.
So clean, man. Like these hands are, these feet are next level, man. Look at that. Again, you watch the beginning there. Watch his eyes right there. Boom.
Good work. Work. Work.
Look at the eyes up there, downfield. Head up, eyes downfield. Look at moving around the pocket. Look at that. Woo! And then you hit the screen pass. Eyes up, downfield. Look at that. Look at that. Special, man. Just special. Eyes up, downfield. Shoulders square, downfield. Where your target's going to be. Like, unbelievably good work here by Tua. Just beautiful stuff, man. So fluid. Some of the best feet in the game right now, man. So, I mean, shout out to Nick Hicks and everyone at Perform doing that work. Man, it is beautiful stuff. It is like absolute poetry in motion when you see those feet moving. Absolutely love every single minute of it, man. Beautiful, beautiful stuff from Tua Tagovailoa. Really, really gives you hope for where his game is going to take its leaps this year, because his base and his footwork, it was one of his strengths coming out of college, but you could notice a little bit of a regression. His base when he was throwing this year, and I know they've been working on that heavy. So it's nice to see the pitter patter of those feet on a football field, man. They are quicker than a hiccup, man. I'll tell you that much. A video I wanted to share with you guys that I thought was really interesting and just shows to the level of, understanding the players McDaniel's at. And then I want you to listen to what's said about McDaniel. So check this video out from QB Collective.
Buy-in. Players, this is their livelihood, and they do best when they understand not only what they're doing, but more specifically and more importantly, why.
I bring up Mike McDaniel because I was his assistant receivers coach in Washington, worked together with him for 4 years, and you meet the guy and he's unassuming, and you don't immediately meet him and say, this is the next Vince Lombardi. But then you listen to him lead meetings, and you listen and understand and know the investment of his time to prepare for those meetings, and you understand that he puts at the forefront above anything else the respect that he has for his job by the way he prepares for those meetings, because he knows there's only one way to convert a player into a believer, and that's to make them better.
There you go. Like you see that there's only one way to convert a player into a believer and to make them better. And he understands that. And I mean, you heard what he said at the beginning there, right? In terms of McDaniel, about it's more than just showing them why, and he really understands the players. And when he talks about knowing how to use them, it's honestly beautiful stuff. Shout out to Jim Barron for the $10 donation. Appreciate you, my guy. What up, Batman, Miami Sportsman? How you boys doing? So yeah, man. I mean, you look at McDaniel and his understanding of the player-coach relationship. It just goes into why Debo wants to be reunited and play with him so much, and why I told you guys don't believe these reports that he's not willing to be a wide back anymore. If he came to Miami and McDaniel said, listen, I need you to fill the same role that I had you rock in San Francisco, where you were basically at an all-pro level, you think Debo's going to say no? Come on, stop. So the thing is, McDaniel's proved he knows how to use Debo, right? And he's made him a believer. So just like he's starting to make people in our locker room real big believers. So it was the right call. McDaniel's changed the vibe, changed the culture, and he's changed the offense. And I'm going to tell you right now he's going to change history because we're going to win a playoff game this year under him. Mark my words. Interesting little article here from Barry Jackson, and it was talking about the best analogy about Tua so far this offseason. And he says, leave it to ESPN analyst and former NFL safety Ryan Clark to craft the best analogy of the offseason for what the Dolphins have done for Tua Tagovailoa. He said, growing up, Sundays were my favorite day of the week, and here's why. We'd go to church very early in the morning. I was a Southern Baptist, so if you go to church at 8, you're not leaving until 11:30. My parents were going to take me to Piccadilly's. When you go to Piccadilly's, you got all the food there at your disposal. You can get the dilly plate, you get 2 sides, you get fried chicken, you get a bun. Tua's got everything. He's got the bun, he's got the fried chicken, he's got the carrot souffle, he's got mashed potatoes and gravy, but he's got a feast. If Tua isn't a large part of this team getting to the playoffs, competing with the Buffalo Bills and having a chance to do damage, he is done. They have given him everything he needs to not only compete, but to excel. If he doesn't, that is on him. And I believe they'll have to make a decision to go in a different direction at this position. Marcus Spears chimed in of Tagovailoa. He said, we're not asking you to do much. We're asking you to make 3 or 4 good throws a game. The offense, which was what have I said? Highlight reel don't win Super Bowls. Efficiency at the quarterback position wins the game. And what have I always said efficiency is? Don't turn the ball over. You make the throws when they present themselves, and you're going to have to make 3, 4, 5 throws in a game that help determine the outcome. Right? Whether it's a big throw up the seam, whether it's a broken coverage on a corner route, whatever the case may be. And that's exactly how Burrow got to the Super Bowl. Efficiency. You didn't get 500 yards a game. You didn't get 5 touchdowns a game. Burrow, like he had that 2-game streak in the season. You got efficient quarterback play. Let the defense do their thing. Be efficient with the football. That's Brady's whole equation. Really high football IQ and elite efficiency at the position. So he said, you need to show up when those moments are critical and high leverage and operate the offense. Sometimes play outside of your mind. If Tua can do that at the right times with the weapons he has, there should be no doubt Tua can lead this team and have them as contenders. The money that has been spent, this is all set up for Tua to take the next step and prove everything. If he does, Miami has got something cooking. If he doesn't, Ryan and I will be Piccadilly's and Tua will probably be with us. We've given you a platter, bro. We've given you all of these options. It's all there for Tua. You've got 2 guys where you can throw a 5-yard pass and he can go 80 yards 2 or 3 times a game. That's going to show up as Tua's passing yards at the end of the game, which is what I've said. What have I said? I could go out there and average 5 air yards per pass, but if I get it to Waddle and Tyreek in open space, it's game over. Really? It's all about, listen, the same way Greer has facilitated Flores' vision, now he's facilitating McDaniel's vision. That's literally what Tua needs to be now. He needs to facilitate the football to all the dream makers and playmakers on that offense. That's literally what your job is now. He has to be the ultimate efficient facilitator on the football field. And if he does that, you're naturally going to get top 12 play, and we are going to win some seriously meaning football games. David Figley says, y'all, hi. I got a story for you. My co-host Neil Driscoll is going to Vegas in 2 weeks, and he's putting a bunch of money down on us winning the Super Bowl and Tua winning the MVP. I don't think Tua's going to win the MVP. I just think I think he's gonna get us top 12 play. Is that unreasonable? No. Listen, again, I go back to what I said. You look at last year. Heading into last season, there was no big gap between Burrow and Tua. What happened was they drafted Jamar Chase, which bumped down T. Higgins to the number 2 receiver, and Tyler Boyd to the number 3, and both guys respectively. Higgins was one of the best number 2 receivers in the NFL. Tyler Boyd was the best number 3 receiver in the NFL. CJ Uzomah showed up more consistently than Gesicki did, especially in the red zone. Joe Mixon, because of the improvements to the offensive line up front, dude, they went from 30th to like 22nd. That's 8 spots. We stayed at 32nd. Okay. And I'll take 22nd best offensive line over 30, historically bad 32nd any day of the week. And what happened with Joe Mixon? He has one of the better offensive lines he's ever had, and he has a career year. So they did all these pieces around them, and then they upgraded the defense. They brought in DJ Reader. Logan Wilson took a step forward. You know what I mean? They upgraded the secondary. Like, they took all these steps forward. And so naturally, Joe Burrow took a step forward, a big step forward. Why is it so far-fetched to think that because I mean, they added Riley Reef. Well, we added Terron Armstead. They added Jackson Carman. We added Connor Williams. You know what I mean? They added Jamar Chase. We added Tyreek Hill, which made Waddle our number 2. Okay, like, you know, we got Gesicki. They don't have anyone right now at tight end that worries you. Now, if Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert in our backfield can stay healthy, we can produce Joe Mixon. But right now, Joe Mixon clearly has the edge. So, you know, you look at it. We made a lot of the similar upgrades they made last offseason, except ours were better. So, logic just takes you down the path that Tua is going to take a leap. It's a matter of how big that leap's going to be. And it's really not unreasonable to have the expectations of, could we have as a team a Cincinnati-like leap? Is that really out of the realm of possibility when you sit back and look at everything? So I'm just saying that he's naturally going to take a step. It just comes to how big it is. That's what it comes down to. It literally comes down to, okay, he's going to take a step forward. How big is it going to be? And it needs to be top 12. He gave us top 15 play for that 3.5 game stretch in November last year, and he had nowhere near the personnel, coaching staff wise and talent wise on the field with him that he has now. So what does that tell me? If he can give me top 15-ish play with those conditions, with these conditions, I rightfully so should expect more. And so I do. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to get out of here. Quick little Saturday show for all y'all. I'm going to be back on Monday night. We're going to talk about all the latest Dolphins topics, and I'm going to drop my final big board. It's going to be the tackle big board for y'all. We're going to drop that. And then this week, we're going to do some mock drafts. And I'm working on a big post-draft surprise for y'all. So be on 2 big post-draft surprises for y'all. So be on the lookout for that. And that rebranding I talk about every time, but we're getting closer and closer, baby. We're getting closer and closer. But listen, I got to get to my family. That COVID is real through this house right now. So I'm going to go tend to my family. I appreciate each and every one of you spending some of your Saturday with me. Until next time, as always, you already know what it is. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Fins up all day, every day, baby.